Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 100 of the Game Vault Pod News Hour. It's insane that we've reached 100. With a show like this, we're not going to do anything really that special in terms of things because, it's just me talking about the news here. But I did want to just address it up front. Say thank you all for listening and make this worth it every week. Goat, Night Duck, Metal Militia when they swing through and answer questions and challenge me on some things. And that's what this show is all about. Was so that we don't have like a news section in the middle of Podcast Prime. We can stay more up to date with the news and just be in a discussion amongst ourselves. And I think it helped us all understand where we come from with video games. Through this, so you can I think we got a better understanding of each other through video games, and that's mainly when I started this show. There's one of two reasons. One, I wanted to just have a weekly conversation of the news. We were doing a bi-weekly show at that point, and it just felt like there was a lot of news stories that we were late to because we had the bi-weekly schedule. So I thought the weekly thing would work much better. And since, I'm the only one without kids and commitments like that, I could commit to once a week doing this. So we didn't have to coordinate schedules. So I did it. And also, it gave us something to do every week when it was just me. And Tom was out when Nova was born and Jen when Danny was born, which happened at the same time. So, I needed something to fill the feed, have a conversation with people. Because I tried to do 3 to 4 nights of streaming a week, but it's slightly impossible at times. But I'm glad we made it this far. I'm still having fun doing it, or else I wouldn't do it on a holiday weekend here. But yeah, hope you all had a good Memorial Day weekend. Not to timestamp this. I mean, the date's in the thing on Twitch and on YouTube. The only place where the episode titles are on the podcast, because it makes it easier to separate us and Podcast Prime on the feed. So yeah, I'm excited. This has been fun. I'm glad that we're rolling up on I guess episode like 101, 102 would be E3, which or I'm sorry, Summer Games Fest, which makes sense. So yeah. Only taking a couple weeks off, mainly one time I was in Florida. We took 2 weeks off for that because I left on a Saturday and came back on a Saturday and was just exhausted. And then we had a couple times when I was sick or my internet was out. But besides that, we've been here weekly and I love it. So yeah, let's get into what I've been playing. I'm going to have a lot more to talk about next week. I took the dive to do sort of like a trial run for $8 more a month. I upgraded my Game Pass back to Ultimate just so I could download Forza Horizon 6, just so I could see if it's something I would hang with, and then I would just buy it outright. Maybe there's a discount for being a Game Pass member that I could take advantage of, kind of like what Sony does. But yeah, we're going to have that stuff to talk about. I downloaded another game based on Game Pass that I heard on the Nextlander podcast that I want to try out. They said it was a combination Vampire Survivors and Nuts to Bolts, Banjo-Kazooie. So yeah, we are gonna have those games coming, so we'll have more to talk about here. But we'll just go through. We'll end with Mixtape for those who have been following the channel. I finished that game, and we'll do a long discussion spoiler. I'm debating on whether to do a review video for it, as just a trial run to do review videos for games I play that I have footage for on the internet. Like when we play 007, I'll do a review video for that. When I play, other games maybe. I didn't want to do like review videos for things I play offline because then that means I got to capture video and it just, would take up too much time here. So, first off, what I've been playing with the soccer season in England coming to an end, my personal team I cheer for, the Arsenal, won their league title, so I've been jumping back into FIFA because I've been all soccered up for the last week or so. Ever since Tuesday night when they won the league, and I literally cried at work because it's been 22 years and the emotion just overcame me. Sometimes it's weird what sports does to you, but it got me back in. I've been playing FIFA 26. It's still great. I still got to figure out the difficulty sliders because, I'm playing on 3 minutes and I'm still like beating teams 4-0, and it's just like, it shouldn't be like that. The good news is it seems to be because the team I assembled is really good. Why I do that? Because when I played as a lesser team and when I did the international game, where I'm coaching Norway, I played Italy and it was a close game. We tied. So I'm like, okay, maybe it's because we're one of the best teams in the world. That when I play the teams that are mediocre or just below me, I'm good enough at the game that I just blow them out on this level. And so I'm still tweaking with it just to see if I can make it a little more difficult for me or whatever. But having fun. I'm probably going to try and finish through a season. Doing 3-minute games means I can get like 5 in an hour. So it's not like all the other time wasting I do with like football and stuff, where that is much more time wasting. It's an hour plus per game rather than 5 in an hour. Yeah, so been playing through that, been having some fun with that. Yeah, and then based on what I've been streaming, play through Tomodachi Life is basically the other one that's not Mixtape. I just realized that Tom did his thing Monday, and that yesterday we didn't get trails in because we had Roxy Foxy had her birthday party, and plus my mom wanted me to pick her up from where she was, and by the time I got home it was 11:30, and I was not going to start streaming because literally Roxy and all lives near my mom, so I literally had to go from Roxy's to where my mom was, bring my mom back up by where Roxy and all was, and then drive back home. So like an hour and a half, 2 hours trip at the end of the night. So I was like, I am exhausted. No stream. We may play that on Memorial Day, so this may be irrelevant. I may play it tomorrow instead of playing UN Squadron. But we'll see. Or we'll flip them and I'll play them somehow. But either way, that's why we didn't play Trails this week for anybody that was wondering. And so in terms of Tomodachi Life, we had our first, love episode where at first was Anna, I think it was Anna Nicole Smith, no, Barbarella. It was Barbarella wanted to confess her love to Cynthia Rothrock, and when she went in there, both Dan and Dr. Beck interrupted her, and then she ended up choosing none of them because a little bit later in the episode, Cynthia Rothrock confessed her love to Anna Nicole Smith, and they are now in love and have been sweethearts. So we had dramatic moments throughout the day. We still have Gerard Butler and Dan as roommates. We added a couple more people to the island. For those of you that are They Called Us a Movie fans, the other podcast I'm on. Be sure also to join the Patreon there, patreon.com/TCTAMPod. That's TCTAM pod. There's a video game channel over there if you want to talk video games, if that's what you like. We have music, video, movies, questions of the week, just general. There's a book club. There's Pick Dump, which can drop art or things you find on the internet in there. I just dropped a funny one where Amtrak put up an advertisement and they got like 80% of the cities wrong in the U.S. where they were located. They put like Kansas City in like West Kansas instead of on the border with Missouri. They put Boston in New York. It's a fun map if you can find it on the internet. It's on our Discord if you want to see it, but it's a pretty fun map. So, They Called Us a Movie over there. That's basically this whole island it's going to be all the characters plus me, Dan, and Ant, who hosts the show. So we added in 2 more characters. We added in Kyla from My Teacher, My Obsession, because we are Team Kyla on the podcast, or at least 2 of us are. So I added her in because I need to try and make it as balanced female to male characters as possible. It's probably going to be It's probably going to be a majority male characters on there because there's not many standout female characters that would be easy to like make a me of. I'm going through. I'm trying real hard. We'll probably have the People's Joker at some point in there, but so I created her at the very end, so not up to any shenanigans yet. And then just because they gave me like an Amish sort of look, I created Abram from was it Stalked by My Amish Boyfriend, which is a recent movie we watched. Once they gave me that outfit to purchase, I'm like, well, I'll make an Abram. And I put him in the game in his Amish outfit. So I don't know. There's no way to make somebody evil in the game because it is Nintendo. So we'll see what we can do. But still having a lot of fun. Tomodachi Life is good. It's good to revisit it once a week. I probably should do an hour and a half stream instead of an hour, just so we can like try to make a bunch of things happen. Try to have everybody make sure they meet, and just keep dropping people and see if we can get weird situations to occur. I need to do a lot more phrases, so I need people to become friends, and stuff like that. There are things to talk about and stuff, so. If you like games like that, simulated life games like Sims or Animal Crossing, but you don't really want to have to do much of the work there outside of just keeping relationships and like making the island look pretty, Tomodachi Life is good. And the way that Nintendo's not censoring it because they're not letting you share it with other Switch players is perfect. So yeah, be sure to check that out. Yeah, we're doing that every Friday before we do our Friday stream, which is going to be our 2026 game that we play, or game that was released in 2026. Friday this week will be 007, First Light, so be on the lookout for that. And then we'll play 007 multiple days in a week and all that. For those of you that weren't here for Death Stranding and Clay Obscure, I play it when I want to play it. We have a set thing. We play it every Friday, no matter what. But I will play it throughout the week in mornings, afternoons, whenever I'm feeling up to it. And rather than just sitting out in my living room play it, I'll play it in front for you guys here. So that's coming up on Friday. But our first crack at a Friday game, 2026 release, was Mixtape. The controversial Mixtape, which I don't really see the controversy in it. I'll get into that in a second. But we did beat that. It took us 2 streams to do it. It's about a 3-4 hour depending on how much you interact with the side stuff in the room. If you want to do all the conversations, if you want to get all the things, trinkets in the room to sort of flesh out story, that'll take a little longer. But yeah, it's basically these 3 teenagers last day in their small town before they go off after high school. One is flying to New York to sort of do the insane thing of just cold calling for a job, essentially just walking up to a famous person and handing them a mixtape and wanting to become a music supervisor. I don't think that's how that works, but ideological thoughts in the 90s would work out that way. And then the other one is going to college in LA, so they're all from Northern California. So there's a road trip happening after the girl leaves for New York. It's sort of like one of those end of high school coming of age things, all in one night stories. Booksmart kind of has this a little bit, movies like that. But the main thing is, there's a soundtrack. It has 24 songs, I believe, on it. I don't know. The Touch might be the most popular song in terms of charting. I didn't do research on that. I knew 5 or 6 of the songs. I knew they had a Smashing Pumpkins song, which I know because my sister is obsessed with the Pumpkins. They had a Rainbow song, which again, sister is obsessed with rock music, so I'd heard that. The Freak by Silverchair, I believe it is. I was just listening to that, obviously. My brain's a little fried. I'd heard that. The Touch, obviously. The Susie and the Banshees song. Yeah, Silverchair is awesome. Freak is a good song. So I knew like 5 or 6 of them of the thing. But a lot of them were B-sides and deep cuts, and a couple of them were bands I've heard of, but didn't really hear those songs before. So it was nice. Like I'm trying to go through the playlist. Yeah, and a lot of my knowledge of the bands themselves, like Jesus, Mary, and Chain, I believe it's called. My sister listened to them, and and a bunch of like Devo I know of, but I didn't know the song they played to open the game. But yeah, if you're Gen X or even early millennial, a lot of these songs will probably hit home because you may have known some of them or most of them. Probably more on the Gen X side. But yeah, that's the whole point. The music is the game. So that's why there's no streamer mode, and that's why we can't monetize the YouTube video, and that's why it's muted on Twitch. So not the whole thing, like chunks. I was a lot less muting than I was expecting on Twitch. Also found out that if you download a muted video, it just removes the muted part instead of just keeping it muted, which was weird when I found that out on YouTube. Thankfully, it was only for 2 mini games that we lost stuff and not, any of the story. So the game still, and on our playlist on YouTube, is still plenty good. So no need to worry there about that. Yeah. So getting into my thoughts and spoilers. So I've had a little bit of time to think about it since Friday. I'm still saying I give it like a 7.5 out of 10. The story, is good if not recycled. Coming of age, leaving town, things. Last party of the year stories. We've had Dazed and Confused, Booksmart, bunch of other movies that I'm probably leaving out that have that thing in it. And so it's good enough. It does that good enough. The music is really good. Even the songs I didn't know of, I really loved. They fit well in the game. The funny part was probably the most popular song was the only one I didn't play. She mentioned that on the playlist was "This Is How We Do It" by Montel Jordan. So it kind of made me laugh. It's like, oh, they couldn't get the rights to that, I see. But he still wanted to show that he knew that song. So yeah, overall music's good. It fits well. It works with everything. You can see why there's no streamer mode. It needs the music. Besides the fact that she announces most of the songs. It would be really weird if she went, this is Freak by Silverchair. And then it's like some generic rock music playing over it. So yeah, music's great. Animation, I love the look of the game. I know the frame rate stuff. I'm less of a frame rate person than Tom, and probably Night Duck as well. So it doesn't bother me as much. The lower frame rate animations. But I like the outside of the character movements. I like the look of the game. The bedrooms were perfect. You got to see all 3 kids' bedrooms, and they fit that person perfectly. They did a really good job of, like that definitely looked like music snob Stacy room. Van's room looked very chill. And Cassandra's room was very put together for somebody, in that type of overbearing household. All had her sports trophies up and all that. And very, very proper, put together, doesn't have millions of posters over the wall. Apparently her mom designs the room, and she gets like a little cork board that she can put her own things on in the room. So, Yeah, yeah. So overall, in the world itself, the city, which is Blue Moon Lagoon. Yeah, that was the name. They called it the Big Suck. You know, some of the jokes are cringe like that. But overall, setting was good. I liked the way it looked. The town was perfect for what they were going for in terms of the mindsets of the kids and the drama in the town. So they did a really good job on that. I think the only thing really um, outside of the story being a little bit recycled, and I think the main thing that gets it down to the 7.5 out of the 9s and 10s that they're getting everywhere else is that the nostalgia didn't hit me as much, so that might help. But also, I think they did a poor job of the main character. Um, I think I know what they were going for, where she's self-absorbed and a little bit selfish, and that brings it to a boiling point where she has to fight with Cassandra, outside of the secret hideout, because she only thought about herself by going to New York instead of doing the road trip that they had planned for 4 years. Like she couldn't delay it another week or so, or go after the road trip to New York. She felt that was the only time she could go and do this. This crazy idea that probably will not work. So they did Stacey Rockford. While they do a good job doing the character that she is, I don't think she's a very likable or good main character. And I think that's what hurts the game a little bit. Like, I was discussing this with Metal Militia the other day. I think the main issue for me with her, and other people may have other opinions based on their experiences, in life, is that I like a person that knows a lot about a subject that is more of an educator than a gatekeeper. He used the word gatekeeper, which is what I was looking for in our conversation. Somebody that's like, oh, hey, I have this Rainbow song from 1978. I think it kicks ass. You should listen to it. I think you'll like it. Awesome. Not going, oh, this song by Rainbow is awesome. If you don't like it, I don't fucking like you. Like, that was the type of, like, Jenny Goodspeed being a little bit normal about music. In a sense that she's like, oh, I go to the movies, I don't really think about the soundtrack. And instantly she hates her. They try and make it up later where, they say Jenny called her a fat lesbo. But also Stacy said she had polio legs. So it's like, who is wrong? Every time they show Jenny, she seemed like a perfectly reasonable person and a nice person. Maybe slightly ditzy, but no reason for Stacy to hate her at all from what we were shown. Maybe this is that person's experience with people, that he thought that everybody would hate Jenny. The weird part about this game is that every other character besides Stacey Rockford is likable and awesome. We don't get much of Jenny. I'm talking about the kids, especially. Not like the adult characters. But of all the teenagers we meet, or like sisters and things, she's the least likable. And they try to make you like her, and it just doesn't work. But yeah, speaking of that, I think Cassandra, or as Stacey would say it, Cassandra, I think is the best character in the game. I think her story arc is really, really good. And it's one that I semi-relate to, knowing people I've known in my life that have had that, where they've been really good at sports and really smart and all that. And then they just decide not to pursue like the sports and stuff. And then, the parents are confused by that. And it's they did exactly the thoughts of Cassandra as every other person I've known in my life that's been like that. It's just she wanted to do her own path. She felt that softball and all this other stuff was what her dad wanted, what her family wanted, not what she wanted. So she wanted to go to college to start over and start her own path. And that's everybody, people I've met in college, mostly. I've heard that coming from them. Like some people being state champion first baseman in baseball, not playing baseball anymore and just wanting to be a writer, and their family, not understanding why they didn't want to be, play college baseball. That they would rather go be a writer at Penn State than go play Division II, Division III baseball. So they get that character right because I know that character. I know that person. And the voice acting delivery is great. Cassandra is one of the more well-written characters in the game. I think the next closest is Van Slater, the other friend. He is also the type of guy, and I bring up Booksmart because he feels like this character's in Booksmart, where you can't judge it. You can't judge a book by its cover. He's very smart, very creative. He can draw. He can make music. He thinks about things very deeply, but he has that cha brah, sort of attitude, and that makes you dismiss him. But I think he might be the smartest of the three. Even though Stacy probably thinks she's the smartest. So I love Slater. I wish we would have gotten to hear what his music was to see what Johnny Galvatron thought his music would be. We heard some synth or thing or something that he did that, Stacy said could work on a soundtrack and she'd show it to Steven Spielberg. Which again, she's an insane person. But yeah, I think his characterization is good. He's a very 3D character, where you can tell that he also agrees with Cassandra about that, Stacy leaving is like she's dismissing them, but he won't say it. He's very much I feel this in my soul because it's the kind of person I am. He feels like he's the peacemaker. Like he's like, Stacy, it's good, it's cool. I'll go talk to her. She's down here. I know where she's at. I'll talk, and we'll make it good. We'll make this right. It'll still be good. Your dream of the final day playlist thing, we'll still go through. We'll get it done. Let me fix this. And instead of saying, Stace, you might need to go down and apologize. Like he tries to be the fixer, and I very much understand that. And the way you could tell, they did a lot of nice subtle stuff with him. That you can pick up on, that you could tell that he probably really likes Stacy in terms of like probably would have wanted a relationship with her, but he knew that she didn't see it that way, and he was smart enough to not try and pursue that. He was like, all right, I know what this is. She doesn't seem to see me that way in any way. Yeah, not even friend zoned. I think he made the decision. I don't even think she ever thought. It's not like the friend zone thing where, she knew there were some feelings and then just put them in a box. I think he realized that, okay, I don't think she's feeling it the way I'm feeling it, so I'm going to not engage. But I'm not going to be upset and mean about it and hold a grudge because I understand. Because, like I said, I think he's the smartest person in the group in terms of understanding. When you come to find out that he was raised by a single mother, you can tell where he can get that empathy and sympathy for the other side. He doesn't turn into an incel or anything like that because of this. I also think Stacy doesn't know what she wants either, so it's probably a good thing he backs off. But you can tell in little moments. Like I said, I think one of my favorite moments in the game is when he goes back and looks in the room and just sadly says, like, goodbye, Stacy's room, and then shuts the door. Like, you can feel like he knows it's over. Even though he tries to keep it up. Oh, yeah, we'll talk. I'll see you tomorrow, which was a nice, sad ending to the thing because he wouldn't see her tomorrow, But they do the hand-holding thing at the end, which is sort of like his last gasp of saying, hey, there might be something here. And then they let go, and he's like, all right, I'll see you tomorrow, and leaves. But the cool thing about him is it doesn't seem like, which is why I push back a little bit on the friend zone thing that Tom says here, because it seems like he does date other people, or tries to hook up with girls and things like that. Mark, that is the friend zone. Okay. he doesn't seem. I think the thing that I mainly get at with him, and I've never been in the situation that Slater is that mainly when I think of people in the friend zone, I think of them just never going for other people, and it seems like he was going for other people. Um, and it's not like she was going for other. She only kissed that one boy because he was available, um, but she wouldn't have done it to Van because she didn't see him that way. Um, you know, and all that. Maybe there was a little bit there, and that's why she didn't kiss him to get it out of the way. Um, but yeah, I think the fact that yeah, okay, but yeah, he I think it seems like it was definitely more of a Van decision than a Stacy decision, if that means anything in terms of the friend zone thing. But yeah, I'm just glad that they didn't make them get together because then that would have been too much of that kind of story. But yeah, so they do a good job of that, um, and then the final big thing, the big spoiler thing that I was saying, which isn't much of a spoiler, is that Cassandra finally stands up to her dad, who is a cop and sort of like a sort of controlling. Like he grounds her and all, and doesn't allow her to go to the party. She still sneaks out anyway, and then he confronts her after the cops show up at the party, which moves from the beach to their hideout because the beach party got busted. She stands up and just goes, "Hey," which is why I love her character. Just goes, "Hey," to the dad. If you want to see me be what you think I am, if you make me stay in this town, I will become the person you think I am, even though I'm not. I will, you know, be a degenerate, and I will set things on fire, and just like what you think you're controlling me is only going to make it worse, and I promise you I will make it worse. And just her conviction is like, just let me go to school in LA, and sort of just stands up to him, and maybe she gained a little respect from her dad for that. But I just love that she stood up. She's like, "Hey, I'm gonna stop being Miss, goody proper two shoes with you if you force me to stay home from college and skip a year or go closer to home. I worked too hard to get into that school, sort of thing, and sort of like, I'm gonna make your life a living hell if you keep me here." And and that was pretty awesome. That's probably the best scene in the game. Yeah, I'm trying to think. There was something else that occurred. Oh, the funny scene thing is there was a time where a guy does a cannonball into a kiddie pool, and then his body just vanishes into the void. You can see it in the video on YouTube. The guy jumps, and I go to the pool, and like there's nothing in the water. I'm like, were you supposed to like look away after he hit the water? But yeah, that was pretty funny. But yeah. But overall, yeah, the game itself is, you can watch a playthrough of it. You don't have to play it. But if you, I haven't looked up on Steam because Tom had asked me a good question if the soundtrack came with the Steam game, which it does. If it does, it's worth it. Because like I said, all the songs are really good. It's only $20. If you have Game Pass Ultimate, it's free to play through it. I bought it because at the time I didn't have Game Pass Ultimate. But yeah, it's an interesting game. I think I said this to either on the stream to Goat and Metal Militia, or I said it to Tom when we were talking outside of the game. Is I very much feel like the hate for it is way too much, and the praise for it is way too much. That this is one of those things that, hey Goat, this is one of those things that sort of lives in the middle. Like I said, like it's probably a 7 to 8 out of 10 game. But the nostalgia hit the people on the right and they wanted it to be an indie darling because they love the music and they love the story. And people on the other end see it as an industry plant. They're trying to force this game down our throat, and just went way off in the conspiracy direction and stuff, where I'm like, oh, whoa, like that's taking it a little too far. It can be a very forgettable 7 out of 10 game. There's plenty of those out there. And just because, like, a lot of the people on the left side, we'll just do left and right, not in terms of politics, just in terms of my hands on the YouTube screen. My left, I guess it would be the same. Yeah, because I flipped the camera. So, like, the people on the left side, as I'm looking at a spectrum here, that I'm putting, they are also the people that yell about that review scores don't matter, and we should never listen to those people. But then as soon as they give this game a 10, it's like, oh my god, these review scores. Whoa, why are we, the review scores? And I'm just like, I thought you didn't listen to review scores. Woke, whatever, that they scream over here. And everybody's over here is like, oh, everybody should play in this game. If you don't, like, they kind of get like Stacy. Like, oh, if you don't understand this game, you just don't understand. It doesn't matter, that there's not any consequences for gameplay. You just don't get it, man, and you're dumb if you don't get it. And I'm like, whoa, I don't think it's that. Yeah, there are plenty of walking simulator games. I think Gone Home is one of them that's really, really good. That's probably a lot better than this game, to be honest. But yeah, it's not that, and it's it's not all that positive praise to the right, and it's not all that negative praise on the left. Sometimes games do fall into those extremes, but I think this game very much, I feel like, and I don't know if you guys would agree with me, feel free to say in the comments or go over to the TC Tam Discord. I don't think that this game would have gotten the hate and stuff that it got if Clair Obscur didn't have the success it did. And let me explain that. Clair Obscur was indie darling, 9 out of 10. Everybody loved it, but it wasn't, we were like, well, it's not really an indie game. So when another game comes out, which is, funded heavily, but not published by one of the big studios, and they want it to be an indie darling again, people freak out. So the reaction is just because this came after that, and this one got hit a lot worse because of it. But yeah, I say judge for yourself, watch playthroughs, play it for yourself. Yeah, and as Ghost says, he's got it at 6.5, and like I said, I say 7 out of 8. It could be 6 out of, I was about to say 6, 6, 7. But it's fine. It's because it does everything else well. Like I said, the setting's great, the music's great, the story is average, which is why it gets to like a 6, 7.5, somewhere in that range. And most of the characters are really good, except for the main character, which is why it gets deducted a lot of points. But it's going to be forgettable. This isn't going to be something that people are going to bring up in 10, 15 years as this greatest game ever invented. It's not on that level. It's just something that hit really hard. There's plenty of games I remember getting 9s and 10s that were games like this, shorter, smaller, indie type games, and nobody really talks about it anymore. There was, it's just got too much hype for way too long, and I think it's something that this will all come up again in December when people are doing games of the year, and these will be people's games of the year or in their top 3. It'll definitely be in my top 10, unless if I play 10 better games, but the chance of me playing that many games is borderline. So, but yeah, so that's my review for Mixtape. If you want to discuss it, comments below, or you can go over to the Discord on the They Call This Movie channel. That's patreon.com/TC TCTAM Pod. That's TCTAM Pod. Just $1 a month. Join the Discord, and you can discuss video games, music, movies, everything over there. Yeah, so we would love to hear your point of view. All right, let's move on to the news. And yeah, I finished it. It's on YouTube if you want to watch it, Goat. So, and it has all the music on in there. So, no edited out for mutes this time. All right, let's go to my favorite Luma wipe, and go to the news. Ooh, I gotta pop your thing up here so that everybody can see your lovely chat. First off here, Take-Two's boss reaffirms that GTA 6 is planned for November. Take-Two CEO Strauss Zelnick has reaffirmed that Grand Theft Auto 6 is planned for this November, and that marketing will begin this summer. Grand Theft Auto 6 is arguably the most anticipated video game release ever, and as such, a potential further delay of the game has been the subject of much speculation from fans. When GTA 6 was first revealed, the game's initial trailer finished by slating the game for 2025. That game was later delayed till May 26, 2026. In November 2025, the game was then delayed to November 2026. Now Take-Two CEO Strauss Zelnick has said that the game is still planned for November 19th, and that marketing for the game, including pre-orders, is planned for this summer. When asked about console price issues, which have seen both the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series consoles increase beyond their launch prices, Zelnick describes the situation as not great news, but remains confident in GTA 6's ability to sell. If we do our job and deliver great properties, which in this past year we were able to do across the board, thanks to the work of my colleagues, then the consumer happily shows up, he said to Bloomberg. There's nothing that's going on in the market that gives me particular cause for concern. Last week it was speculated that pre-order campaigns for GTA 6 could kick off as soon due to an email sent from Best Buy to members of its affiliate program. Yeah, so GTA 6 is going to be one of those tentpole games. I think we had done discussion before, and it will definitely be the decider on where video game pricing goes from here. So if this sells for $90 or $80 or whatever, and sells 10, 15 million copies or whatever, some insane number that could happen, then all games are going to be $70, $80 from that point forward. Because people aren't going to hear that, yeah, the reason it sold that much at that price was because it's GTA 6, not because of the quality of the game, just based on the name. No, they're not going to wait for reviews. You know, the review scores are not going to matter for GTA 6. Just like with Call of Duties, the people that buy it up front will buy it. And it's not going to be on Game Passes or PlayStation Pluses. So all that will be people buying the whatever price it is. And I will probably stupidly be one of the people paying for that price on PlayStation. So I think it's going to be the thing that sort of lets the industry know what they can get away with. If sales aren't as good as they're anticipating, people are going to blame the price, or they're going to blame the console prices going up, or they're going to, it's going to, if this doesn't sell the way people believe, they are going to blame it on something that's going to shape the industry for the next 5 years. Either console prices are going to start coming down, or game prices are never going to go up. It's going to be one or the other if this game fails. If this game succeeds, then it's business as usual as it's been. So a lot is riding on this game. Also, the fact that it's staying in November means games now know they can get the fuck away from it if they don't want to be sucked into the vortex that is going to be GTA 6. So I doubt there are going to be a lot of late November releases. There may be early November releases to kind of try and beat it, to get like one or 2 week sales in. to get it done. Yeah, this will be interesting. I can't wait for November. I can't wait for Summer Games Fest, if that's going to be like the final teaser trailer or anything. That'll be fun. And circling back to your question above me there, I forgot that you were talking about last night's stream, not Friday night, Goat. Did not stream last night. Got home way too late from things I was doing and was exhausted after doing a lot of driving. So we may play Trails tomorrow night, or, and we'll play U.S. Squadron during the day tomorrow. So sorry for any confusion. All right, moving on to the next story. Bungie confirms it is ending Destiny 2 updates to focus on new games. Bungie has announced it is ending updates for Destiny 2 to focus on developing new games. In an update posted to its website, the studio confirmed that it will release the final live service content update for Destiny 2 on June 9th. The final update will add a collection of love letters to players based on the most common player requests, Bungie said, including the return of the director and other modes, and small character beats to lead the story and characters in interesting places. The news follows declining player numbers for the live service shooter and a disappointing recent expansion. Sony Interactive Entertainment recently reported a $765 million impairment loss related to Bungie assets following the release of its extraction shooter Marathon. Sony has not said how the game has performed since its release earlier this year. For almost 12 years, we've had the joy and honor to explore Destiny universe with you all, Bungie said on Thursday. Through all the ups and downs and surprises and triumphs, building Destiny alongside our players has been a monumental privilege. While our love for Destiny 2 has not changed, it has become clear that after the final shape, we have reached the time for our shared worlds and Destiny to live beyond Destiny 2. It continued, as our focus turns towards a new beginning for Bungie, we will begin work in incubating our next games. To that end, on June 9th, 2026, we will release the final live service content update for Destiny 2 to begin that new journey as a studio. If Destiny 2 has gone the way of the dodo, as they say. It was a game series that was always on my peripheral. We played it a little bit on the site. I never got deep into it. Metal Motion probably got a lot deeper into it, and that's an understatement than I did. But yeah, it's interesting to see. I think they had like a 10-year plan or something, and I think they got close to that or a little bit over that with this when they first came out. I remember that when it was first announced. So we should have seen this coming. It's not even things like Fortnite and stuff are starting to lose people. So maybe it's the end of all this stuff. Live service things are getting cut all the time. So maybe we'll get back to multiplayer and single player games, that aren't a constant live service, because they're finding out that does not, it's not the cash cow that it used to be. Congratulations to Bungie for lasting as long as it did. Destiny is a franchise that, even those of us that have never played it will know it. We'll see what they have next. People are loving Marathon, so maybe they can get that to live up to expectations now that they might be focused specifically on that. All right, next up. PlayStation State of Play Showcase, including Marvel's Wolverine, announced. The showcase will be an hour long and will include extended looks at the long-awaited Marvel's Wolverine, in addition to news and updates on other upcoming PS5 games. The stream will go live at 10 p.m., so 5 p.m. Eastern time here. This is Video Games Chronicle is based in England, so the 10 p.m. is British Standard Time. On June 2nd, 2026, Let me just check. I believe that is... Yeah, that's a Tuesday. All right. Maybe I have to figure out a way to get out of work early. Where me and Tom can figure out a way to do it that evening. I'll just have to... Well, good thing is with it starting at 5, I can be on blackout until I get home, and we can do it at like 6. But yeah. So, Marvel's Wolverine is confirmed release September 15th, 2026. So Insomniac's basically going to be doing, at the end of the state of play, the normal thing they did like with Call of Duty and stuff before. I think there's going to be a Gears of War thing as well involved with this or something. Yeah. And there's 2 things... Yeah, I don't know where I think GTA 6 is going to show up on the Summer Games Fest. It's going to show up on Keighley's show, so we don't have to worry about that here. 3Make will either show up here or at Keighley. Probably here, if they're starting to do that. But yeah, the fact that it's going to be about an hour or whatever it said, and they're calling it a state of play. These are usually called PlayStation showcases. I don't know if they're just using the state of play branding now for everything. State of plays used to be smaller, more focused, like a half hour, 40 minutes. And so we'll see. We'll see how this looks. I got to figure out when Jeff Keighley's thing is, just so we can figure out timelines. I'm assuming Jeff Keighley's thing's like next weekend, if this is on the 2nd. Or it's that week or something weird, like it's that Monday. Either way, we got a state of play coming on top of the Microsoft thing, which I think is that weekend. I don't know, or is that week? So we're in that time of year. I love this time of year. It's a stupid thing. It's like when I used to be really into broadcast television for TV shows. I loved pilot season when they would do their announcements, or upfronts they were called. Excuse me, when they would announce the shows for next season. So I get stupidly excited about this stuff. All right, next up, PlayStation Plus is going up in price for new members. Beginning May 20th, PlayStation Plus Essential prices will start at $10.99 for 1 month subscription. This increase of $1 for 1 month and $3 for 3 months. In a post, PlayStation's Twitter account, Sony cited ongoing market conditions. The price change does not apply to current subscribers, except in Turkey or India for some reason, unless the existing subscription changes or lapses. So, yeah, if you're getting into or raising your PlayStation thing, this is a little late for you to say do it before the deadline, but, you're going to be paying a little bit more. $1 isn't much in terms of increases on it. I'm sure the other stuff is going up like $1 or $2 or something like that. But the reason I pulled this story was this is what Xbox should have done when it raised Game Pass prices. They should have grandfathered everyone in. Because if you grandfathered everyone in and had the new people start at the higher price, the people that did cancel or lessen their thing may have not done that. Oh, it's going to stay at $21? Sure, I'll stay at $21. I'm not going to $30, which a bunch of us did. 2 of us on this podcast did. This is how they should have done it. This is how Microsoft should have done it. Sony did this because they learned what Microsoft did, and they didn't want to have a mass, of people dropping the service or dropping down a tier or whatever. This is very smart on their behalf. I have one. I have I think Extra, which is the 2nd level. So my price won't be changing because I'm not going to let it lapse or need to upgrade it. I don't need to go to the premium for PlayStation. Really, the only thing I see with premium is you get like some of the better games sooner, and then you get the bunch of classics, which I can just ask my Uncle Vim for those games and get them, or rip them from Tom or something. I don't need to be paying to play them on my PlayStation 5. I have other ways to play them. Duck Station exists. So, yeah, if you have PlayStation Plus, don't do anything. Your price won't change. And like I said, I only pulled this story because this is what Microsoft should have done when they raised Game Pass Ultimate. It was just grandfather people in, and the Mister is great as well. Um, you know, so it's like I don't need to go to premium to get classic games, and that's really the only advantage to going to premium. I mean, you get some of the newer games like months after they're released, you'll get them on premium. They don't do day one stuff on Sony, which is the only reason Ultimate is good for me, or why I stayed with Ultimate so long was the day one stuff. Like I'm downloading Forza 6 right now to play after this stream, so we can talk about it next week. And I'm downloading another game that's on there. And like I said, if nothing else that I want, I'm gonna go down to. I don't mind paying a little extra to keep fluctuating on Game Pass. But yeah, it went down to the price I'm comfortable at, so I might just stay there because I probably shouldn't, but getting back down to $21, $22 made it more reasonable for me. So yeah, just good on Sony here, doing this the way they did it. Hopefully they don't fuck it up by doing something stupid with it down the line. All right, next story. PlayStation boss says single-player games won't come to PC going forward. PlayStation boss Herman Hulst told staff this week that PlayStation single-player games will no longer come to PC, it is claimed. Earlier this year, Bloomberg cited people familiar with Sony's plans, claimed that the company was pulling back from its plans to release its upcoming games on PC, with future single-player games set to become PS5's exclusives. The report claimed that while Ghost of Tsushima eventually got a PC port a few years after its release on PlayStation consoles, its sequel, Ghost of Yotei, won't be coming to PC after plans for a port was scrapped earlier this year. Now, in a post on social media, Bloomberg reporter Jason Schreier claims that PlayStation Studios CEO Herman Hulst told staff this week that single-player titles from PlayStation, such as Ghost of Yotei, Saros, Marvel's Wolverine, would remain console exclusives. In the original report from March, Bloomberg claimed that multiplayer titles like Marathon will still release on multiple platforms, but it appeared that Sony's cadence of releasing titles such as Spider-Man, The Last of Us, and Horizon on PC several months or years after the original release is over. While PC players celebrated Sony's move to bring more of its titles to PC, the delayed release schedule and often undercooked ports meant that the PC versions of some PlayStation titles sold shockingly few copies. Just this last thing. According to Bloomberg, a faction within PlayStation has also expressed concern that releasing their games on PC risks damaging the console's brand and will hurt sales of PlayStation 5 and its successors, according to people familiar with Sony's inner workings. So as much as I am a game should release everywhere, at least its explanation, I can see it. It makes sense why they're doing it from a Sony perspective, from a business perspective. If the games aren't selling well on PC, why spend the money to port it? And if they are also seeing things that might make people buy less consoles, why do it? I understand that it's great that everything, gets to PC at some point, but if it becomes a waste of money and nobody's buying it, like, what's the point? The only thing that makes this a little shady and a little, icky is that you are raising the prices of the consoles while making this decision. So you could have seen bigger sales on PC, once that occurred, when people couldn't afford your systems anymore. Now you're going to see less systems sold and less games sold, and you're going to start blaming the games. And it's not right. I can see it coming. But from just on paper, in a vacuum, it looks like a fine decision. Why waste money that you could put elsewhere? Or if you want to be a cynic, put in your pocket, porting games that aren't going to be purchased. It's not worth the money. But we'll see. We'll see if they change their mind on this once people stop buying the systems because they're $800, and they need to find ways to recuperate money they may change their mind on this. So, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, it's interesting to see that all this stuff is coming to a point where something's going to break. In terms of the economy we live in, the companies are going to start having to shift their expectations as this economy gets worse, and the awful decisions coming out of the country I live in continue. So, all right, next up, Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced, Resynced creative director explains why the modern day scenes are gone. Assassin's Flag, it's just the same thing. Let's just start the story then. In the early games in the Assassin's Creed franchise, players would split their time between playing as a historical assassin and modern day sequences, which centered around a mysterious company named Abstergo. In more recent entries, these sequences have been phased out, a change that has split the Assassin's Creed fanbase. In Assassin's Creed Black Flag, players are hired by Abstergo Entertainment. This was the weirdest one they did. To examine the memories of Edward Kenway. One of the reasons the player is tasked to do this is to gather material for a potential future film about Kenway. However, in the upcoming remake, those sequences have been removed. When asked about this decision to remove the modern-day elements, the game's creative director, Paul Fu, explained that it may be jarring to keep them in the game when compared to how the modern day element is handled in the rest of the series currently. We felt that the right thing to do was to go in the direction of Assassin's Creed Shadows, Fu told VGC during an interview earlier this month. The animus has evolved so much in the past few years that it would be odd for us to shift that shift the direction. The game does feature the rifts that appear in Shadows, showing what-if scenarios, according to Fu. VGC spent 4 hours with Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced and called it a perfect summer jaunt back to the Caribbean and a game loved by so many. Black Flag might be my second favorite Assassin's Creed game, so I am very excited about Resynced. Assassin's Creed 2 is a classic and easily one of the best games of that genre ever made. So a very understandable reason why they're cutting out this was the weird one being part of the company, at least with the Desmond stuff. As insane as that was in the first 3 games or 5 games, since 2 had like Brotherhood and something, I think had 2 spin-offs of it that had new modern day stuff in it. That stuff actually tied to a story. This was just, from what I remember, just about this company. I don't think it tied to, like, all the stuff Desmond was doing. This was completely different. I think Abstergo is still Templars and all that stuff, but I think it makes sense. It's been so far since we've had a modern day stuff like this to just pull it out. It would just seem weird. It seemed weird at the time, the type of modern day stuff they did here. So very understandable that they were doing this. I am excited to play this game again with more updated. The Desmond stuff was great. The Black Flag stuff was weird and confusing. You basically ranked the levels like you were working at a company, and the disconnect was really weird. At least the Desmond stuff, there was a story going on with the Desmond stuff at the time. Like, this was just it was just weird. I don't know how much you remember Black Flag, but yeah. And also, ship combat has, probably could be upgraded at this point. It's still better than Skull and Bones, but I want to see if they do any new stuff with that. All right, next up. Dungeons & Dragons game from Star Wars Jedi director has been canceled by Hasbro. Stig Asmussen, Giant Skull, has had its Dungeons & Dragons game canceled, it has been reported. The decision was made by Hasbro less than a year after the game was announced, according to Bloomberg. Asmussen's studio, Giant Skull, was formed in 2024 to work on a AAA single-player focused action adventure using Unreal Engine 5. In April 2024, following the success of 2023's Baldur's Gate 3, Hasbro began searching for new development partners. We're now talking to lots of partners and being approached by a lot of partners who are embracing the challenge of what does the future of Baldur's Gate franchise look like? Hasbro's Eugene Evans said at the time. In June 2025, it was announced that Giant Skull was partnering with Wizards of the Coast to develop a game in the Dungeons & Dragons universe. At the time, Asmussen said, "Our goal is to craft a rich new Dungeons & Dragons universe filled with immense storytelling, heroic combat, and exhilarating transversal that players will fully embrace." Now, Wizards of the Coast owner Hasbro has pulled the plug on the project. Wizards of the Coast and Giant Skull both confirmed the news when approached by Bloomberg. Wizards of the Coast shared that it is still taking new pitches from Giant Skull, stating, "While we have decided not to pursue an early concept from Giant Skull, we have great respect for Stig Asmussen and the team, and we value our ongoing relationship." So, yeah, essentially, yeah. Well, Baldur's Gate 3 is the only example of a D&D game actually working. It is all 5e stuff in there, so very familiar for me while I was playing it. It's because Larian is fucking good at what they do, and I think Hasbro is in the find out phase of FAFO in this case. Because they ruined that relationship or crunched Larian so much that they just moved on. That could have been a studio that could have done this for years for them. I don't know what happened that they're not, but I think they are trying to find something that's not going to be there. The main problem with D&D games is you have to. I think it has to be a role playing game. I don't think it can be like action adventure. Like a Witcher. I don't think you can do Dungeons and Dragons as the Witcher game. It needs to be turn-based combat with dice and all that, if you're going to call it a Dungeons and Dragons game. Now, you can say a game is in, the Forbidden Realms universe. Sure, use the names and things, but it's not going to be a Dungeons and Dragons game. But my point with this story and why I pulled it is I think this is great. As much as I dislike giving Hasbro, praise a lot, but the idea of canceling this early is great because it looks like, according to Asmussen, it's not going to affect, there's not going to be layoffs. They're just moving on to the next thing. Like, they don't have to, worry about, people losing their jobs because the game got canceled 5 years in. So, good on Hasbro for canceling this early and not having this drag out. Next up, Capcom. AI, not for creating art, but to unlock the potential of creators. God, they're still on this. Speaking from Google Cloud... Oh, well, now I know why. Speaking from Google Cloud Next 2026 in Las Vegas to 4gamer.net. Is that... Inoue-san talks about how Capcom uses AI during development and clarifies that Capcom is not using the tools to create art. This follows on from Google Cloud's Jack Busser saying, "I think what players don't realize is that their favorite games right now were already built with AI in April, suggesting that Capcom was one of the examples of developers utilizing AI. Now, in a way, son said, seems to be clarifying how Capcom uses AI and that AI cannot replace human artists because of sensibility, among other things. AI is rapidly developing and processing increasingly advanced intelligence. At times, it surpasses most humans, and I feel that it has even surpassed the best humans," in a way San tells 4gamer.net via machine translation. On the other hand, what we in the entertainment industry consider extremely important in relation to this intelligence is sensibility. Even AI with the highest level of intelligence still falls short of our creator in terms of sensibility. Therefore, focusing on sensibility is more efficient in terms of resource concentration from the perspective of human capital management, and is also important for coexist for creators. Whew, okay. I'm not going to read the rest of this because that was a lot of word salad there. Um, Essentially, what he's trying to get out in front of is people saying AI slop and art made with AI, which I think we've had discussions in the past. You know, we think most AI is bad. I think AI works in only a couple of settings. I think AI is great um, if you want to establish a program to like take notes during a meeting. Like if you're having a brainstorming meeting and you don't want to have somebody writes on a whiteboard and you don't want anybody missing things. Like you can have the AI, listen to the meeting and come up with you know, um, a document mentioning everything and all the ideas that were thrown out at that meeting. That's a great use of AI, and I think you can use that in development of games. Is just to, make sure that everything is good. I don't agree with the idea of using AI even to touch up art at any point because the original artist's intent has to stay there with the game. So, just wanted to bring this out that Capcom is trying to sort of separate itself a little bit from this whole AI thing. And I just hope that, with all these booings that are going on college campuses and stuff, that OpenAI lost like 130 really high number of loss percentage. It was like a weird accounting thing where they lost so much money in the last quarter that maybe the bubble is finally bursting on AI and stuff. But data centers are opening everywhere and killing children, so who cares as long as the rich person gets money, right? All right, moving on. A family-friendly Steam game is replaced by crypto malware before being delisted. Family-friendly game Rodent Race has had its Steam listing hijacked by crypto-stealing malware masquerading as an indie horror game. This game has now been delisted from Steam by Valve after a fan investigation. After being asked to investigate indie horror game Beyond the Dark, YouTuber Eric Park downloaded the free-to-play title on a virtual machine to see if warnings of it being malware were warranted. After an investigation, which can be viewed in full on his YouTube channel, he concludes that it is malicious. A full breakdown of the investigation can be seen on malware analysis site AnyRun. When installed and played, Beyond the Dark appears to steal credentials for any cryptocurrency while it's associated with the user's machine or web browser. As a result, visiting Beyond the Dark Steam page now will reveal that it has been removed from Steam by Valve. SteamDB shows the app's change list where you can see the game was previously titled Rodent Race and had all of its information changed in early May. Previously listed publisher Hyper G8 has little to no online footprint. One of the few examples of Rodent Race gameplay, which we found via the Rodent Twitter account, is posted on YouTube by the channel Diamond Hands. Fucking Christ. Searching for the publisher Hyper Great also reveals a Twitter account dedicated to crypto, but there's no proof that either of these crypto-themed accounts is related to the original publisher. Likewise, there's no proof that Rodent Race developer was actually hacked. Using the Wayback Machine, we can see that the original Rodent Race page featured an AI-generated content disclosure stating, used KI to generate all game art and logos and manually modified it. The same disclosure remains on Beyond the Dark. Rodent Race peaked at just one concurrent player at launch, according to SteamDB, but rebanding it as free-to-play Beyond the Dark saw that rise to 5 concurrent players. Most suspiciously, the game received a string of positive reviews from May 7th to May 18th, before negative reviews from concerned Steam users took the game's rating down to mixed, at which point Valve removed the game. Yeah, so this is crazy. But yeah, it's... Crypto and stuff is insane, so, this is what I always worry about with my niece. And she's a little smart about this, but having that Roblox brain, that she'll just download something because she thinks it looks fun, especially horror games. So I just hope that she knows enough to research it, and I've told her to do it. But games like this freaks me out a bit. But glad they caught it. It was only a month or less than a month, and Valve was able to take it down. So, but doesn't mean there aren't other games on Steam that are like this that people just haven't found yet. So just be careful with these free-to-play games and listen to your malware on your computer. All right, next up, and some better news. Sega is teasing the new Crazy Taxi with first social media post in 7 years. The Crazy Taxi Twitter account is posted for the first time in 7 years, potentially teasing the upcoming revival. A new entry in the Crazy Taxi franchise was announced in 2023 during the Game Awards. Since then, nothing has been seen of the upcoming revival. Now, a teaser video has been posted to the Crazy Taxi Twitch account, the first post on the account since 2019. The clip, which can be viewed below, shows the iconic taillight illuminating on top of what appears to be the trademark yellow convertible taxi. Crazy Taxi Reboot is being developed by Sega's Sapporo studio, which was established in December 2021, and helps with the development of various Sega games. In 2024, a recruitment video was posted by Sega Sapporo featuring Kenji Kano, the director of the original game. So, this is very much... sorry, I accidentally clicked on Firefox. So, this is... very much one of those games I'm looking forward to. They've already done Shinobi, got their game out. A bunch of other games that they announced during this thing have already been on their way. I am excited for Crazy Taxi. I think it'll be a fun game to have if it's priced right. This has to be a $30, $40 game, if that. But I'm excited to see what Sega does with it in the new hardware, new generation. So hopefully maybe the Game Awards, they'll have an announcement why this teaser came out now. So looking forward to that. Not the Game Awards, Summer Games Fest. Yeah. And finally, Xbox game titles for the rest of May have been revealed. Forza Horizon 6 joins the service, which is playable across console, cloud, PC, and handheld. The following games will be added across the services next 2 weeks. Remnant 2 was on May 20th on Ultimate, Premium, and PC. Winterboro, May 20th, now joins Premium. It was already on Ultimate and PC. Luna Abyss, May 21st, is Ultimate and PC. Escape Simulator, May 26th, Ultimate, Premium, PC. Echo Generation 2, May 27th, Ultimate PC. Outer Worlds Spacer's Choice Edition, May 22nd, 7th, Ultimate Premium PC. Crash Out Crew, May 28th, Ultimate PC. Kabuto Park, May 28th, Ultimate Premium PC. Final Fantasy VI, June 2nd, Ultimate Premium PC. And Jurassic World Evolution 3, June 2nd, Ultimate Premium PC. This just reminded me that I downloaded The Outer Worlds 2 and barely played it. What a flop that game was. It goes in the bin of Civilization 7, which I also have and never played. So if you have Ultimate, you have a whole bunch of these games. If you have Premium, you're getting a bunch of new ones coming through as well for this month. So be on the lookout for that. And that will do it for the podcast. Thank you guys for coming. We will be back tonight on Monday with, I think what I'm going to do is, since it's Memorial Day and most people will be home, I might do a UN Squadron thing in the afternoon, like at noon. A sort of a Memorial Day celebration. We'll play through that for an hour or so. And then we'll do Trails Monday night. And we'll play through some of that. Or we'll flip it. I'll do Trails at 12 so we can play it, maybe beat it tomorrow afternoon. Or at least get close to beating it. And then we'll play UN Squadron at night. So just look at that. We'll definitely be live in the afternoon and an evening. So it'll depend on which is which on there. And then on Thursday, we got some more Final Fantasy X. Friday is Tomodachi Life and 007 First Light. Saturday is either the end of Trails or the beginning of Neo Fantasian, or we take a break on Saturday and I play something else, or we just take a break in general. And then Sunday, we're back with the news hour. And then Monday, we'll be playing some more UN Squadron again. So thank you all for being here. And then week after that, there's a whole lot of shit on here in terms of there's that Sony thing, there's a Microsoft thing, there's Summer Games Fest, there's probably a bunch of other things that I gotta get on the schedule so that me and Tom, or at least me, can be able to watch. So yeah, next week is the calm before the storm. So thank you all for listening. Be sure to comment below in the video if you have any questions, or go over to the They Call This a Movie Patreon. That's patreon.com/TCTAMPod. That's TCTAM pod. $1 a month gets you into the Discord, and you can play games. You can talk about video games, music, television, movies, books, anything in general. It's a good place to be. It's a lot easier to just basically control the video game section of that than have a whole other Discord thing, because I'm not great at Discord. It's a good joke that we have. So be sure to go over there, and be sure to like and subscribe to everything. Give this 5 stars if you're listening on Apple Podcasts. Leave a review. We'll really appreciate it. And we will see you next time. Bye.